So this is really how to urban sketch with sort of fast watercolour. I think if we start off by actually looking at the piece, you can see that it's a little bit scruffy and it's a little bit wild, but boy, it's a lovely piece. This is the kind of fast, loose sketching that really gets me excited. You know, I think this is a perfect little poem. It's a paragraph to summarise a whole scene, you know. Now, I'm going to be giving away this picture, and if you're interested in having this on your wall, it's only 6x4, it's tiny, but it's really quite beautiful. So yeah, I'll let you know how to do that at the end. One of the reasons why I think it turned out so well is because I just didn't really think. I've approached this with a slight sort of continuous line style, which is something I quite like to do, where I'll keep the nib on the paper and I'll just keep moving it around and looking at detail in various areas, thinking about, you know, do I want a little bit of a brick here? What's this white space telling me? And I find that this way of continually moving the nib and keeping it pressed to the paper actually means that I remain quite sort of focused, if that makes sense. I don't stop and it doesn't break the rhythm, and I can sort of lose myself a little bit in that process, which is one of the things I love most about art and drawing is the idea that you sort of switch off the magic roundabout that is my brain, and having I don't think it's necessarily anxiety, but it's just your brain is always whizzing up, always spinning up like a hard drive, you know. Yeah, I think with art, it slows down the heart rate and you can find yourself just reaching, you know, a lovely calm state. So here, as you can see, the continuous line method, I'm still sticking to it to do these railings. And yes, they look all wonky, and yes, they look a bit weird. I love that. I've always been quite jealous of artists who have a very strong line work style, and because I feel that mine sort of just fluctuate a little bit. But the closest I've got to developing my own style is very much using this continuous line method. So the continuous line method, you know, I know some artists, what they tend to do, like bring the line into to do the windows, but I think that for me that it sort of breaks the fourth wall in the sense that it can look a little bit odd. So for all that I like this continuous line method, I will actually break the rules when it comes to putting things like windows in. So as we continue to sort of tell the story and build up some of these layers, I don't think this, as I said before, I don't think this drawing is going to be hugely accurate, but, you know, it really doesn't matter. When it comes to me doing these sketches, what I'll do is I'll continue to add some elements into the background, even if they're not painted in, and I think it's nice that, you know, this standalone building at least has some context. It has grounding in its environment in a way. So often I'll put in details behind, but I won't colour them in, or I'll just do a couple of little lines. And that is just to sort of hint and to show where this building is in its space, you know. So this fast watercolour technique is basically often the case of just choosing, you know, one or two different colours. I think in this case here, what I've done is I've chosen three. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually. I'll often start with a natural sienna. Now this is a Daniel Smith colour. It's a Monte Amiti natural sienna, but it's basically a yellow ochre, you know, or a raw sienna. And it's this lovely warm brown colour. Now, if you look at the stonework on the reference image, you'll see that that's the sort of nice base colour for the stonework. And often when you're working in watercolour, the first layers you want to put down are these sort of base colours. Now, if you put down something warm, it's going to warm the whole picture up. And if you put down something cold, in terms of the sort of colour balance, it's going to cool the whole picture down. So for that first layer, it's not hypercritical, but it can form the sort of foundation of the picture. So that's going to be the first wash that I'm going to put down. And then on top of that, I'm going to be using a little bit of French ultramarine here. Now this is a quite a strongly granulating colour, so it does give a lot of texture, and that can give a bit of riot, you know, a little bit of chaos in a picture, and that's really fun. But of course, if you mix those two elements together, it will give you a grey as well. And the third colour I'm going to be using here, which I didn't show you there, is some Van Dyke Brown, and finally some Pyrrol transparent orange for the tiles. So going in with the painting technique, how we're going to start here is I'm just going to block in some colour. Because I'm going to be painting, probably putting a colour pop on the roof, or I think at this point I wasn't sure whether I was going to paint the roof at all, so I just thought I'd leave that off. I don't want it to be perfect painting because the drawing isn't a perfect drawing, so I like it when there's a little bit of a sort of colour balance, a little bit of sympathy in between the sort of loose painting and the loose drawing. You know, very tight painting can look a bit odd over the top of a very loose drawing, although it can be fun too. And again, that idea of not doing too much of a fancy sky, you know, just being really suggestive almost. Now, because there's quite a lot of dark in the bottom of this picture, and there is quite a lot of contrast between the top and the bottom, really, what I've done is I've chosen to sort of just drop a little bit of that Van Dyke brown in there. And that's been quite roughly put in. I don't mind that. I think often it's that idea of just keeping it super loose and keeping it really sort of fresh and having a bit of energy about it. I guess the sort of most scary bit here is dropping that red in on the roof, because I decided it really needed that colour pop. And it's a very specific thing about Robin Hood's Bay and those little villages on the east coast of the northeast coast of England. These pan tile roofs, you know, they're very distinctive. So I know full well here, as soon as I put this in, it's going to bleed up into that sky. Now, you have to be kind of a little bit chilled about that. And what I tend to let it do is I tend to let it sit, let it go, let it bleed, let it mix about. And then if I think it's getting a little bit wayward, I'll pull it back and I'll use a dry brush. I'm just drying that brush off now, and then I'll just pull it back a little bit so that it still gives you a little bit of definition, but you still have a little bit of bleed. And as you can see, I've got some, you know, little white dots, bits that haven't been painted, and that really doesn't matter. So that's going to go off now to have its hair dried, and then we'll go back and we'll do the last stage. I think there's only 2 layers on this one. So as you can see here, I've actually gone in and I've painted that other chimney in and then dried it off again, and then this is just the last stage that goes over the top, and this is a super fast one. All I'm using here is a little bit of that French ultramarine there, and I'm just choosing to darken a few areas. So I'm going to do the side of the dormers, that gable end there, and I'm just going to pull that down, big long brush strokes, because it's just a flat wash, and then running it down there. And again, I'm not doing a square, I'm letting it sort of drop off into little bits, break the line up a little bit. It doesn't want to be a solid block of colour. And those white on the dormers for me now are really popping out in a way that's quite like, whoa. So I'm just going to pull them back a bit. I'm just going to knock them, you know, back a bit, and then put in a little bit of shadow in just a couple of areas. Oh, the balcony, yeah, I mean, I could have put some white in for that balcony, but I just wanted to show that there was a little bit of shadow underneath it. It's a super simple one, this one, but I just think it's so effective. If you'd like to win this little original piece of artwork, then all you have to do is 3 things. I would ask you to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then if you want to just add a comment to say, love the sketch, I'll choose somebody at random about a month after the video's gone live, and I'll just post it out to you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.